Greetings, lovely students. I have a few more things to share with you guys today in regards to the Count of Monte Cristo and our characters. So make sure that you have both of those sets of notes with you. And I want to start us off with prayer, though. So if you'll take a moment just to be still, I'm going to lead us in prayer. Dear Lord, thank you for these students and thank you for the opportunity to connect through online learning. I ask that you would give us wisdom, give us discernment, that you would help these students to be able to have everything that they need during this time, that you would give them good internet connection, good rapport with their families just as they work together to make all of this happen, and I ask that you would bless them in the time that they have together. We ask all these things in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, so today's work is to read chapters 34 through 36 and do the guided notes. And again, you'll want to keep track of that character sheet. Your discussion post with 2 responses is due tomorrow. Grammar's due tomorrow, and I have a survey for you all to complete. That's just giving me feedback on how the past 2 weeks have gone. Coming up, again, we've got our quiz on Tuesday and then vocabulary quiz on Friday. So if you have any questions, make sure that you message me in the chat or send me an email. I also have, before I forget, I have kind of an open office hours through Zoom on Thursdays 12 to 1. So I had posted an announcement in the LMS page. It's in the general announcement section last week. So if you want to pop in during that time, there's a link with instructions posted on the LMS page. It's still there. You can also schedule a meeting with me if 12 to 1 on Thursdays doesn't work for you. You can schedule a meeting with me. All right, with our character keeper chart, so we're going to focus on Vifort's family, and we're going to also focus on Fernand's family today, and then 2 extra characters that come up. So Renee de Saint-Maron, she's Vifort's first wife, the daughter of wealthy royalists. So she's the lady that he was marrying at the beginning of the book, and her daughter is Valentine, but she died young, okay? So when we're talking now about Madame de Vifort, that's his second wife, as you see put down below. So Valentine is Vifort and Renee's daughter. She's at a marriageable age now. She's supposed to marry Franz, but she's in love with Maximilian Morel, okay? And Franz doesn't even necessarily want to marry Valentine either. It's just things that their parents have arranged. Now, Madame de Vifort, she's, again, Villefort's second wife, and she has a son named Edouard, and she's very jealous of Valentine because she wants Edouard to inherit Vifort's money and property and everything else. Now, Edouard is the young boy. He's the son of Vifort and Madame de Vifort. He's the boy that was in the carriage wreck that the Count helped to save. Then we have Marquise and Marquise de Saint-Maron. Those are Vifort's first in-laws. So the parents of Renee, his first wife, they were the ones that he was talking with at the beginning of the story at the betrothal party that was interrupted with Edmond's arrest. Okay, so if that helps you to connect that. They are now old and they're dependent on Vifort. Even though he has a second wife, he's still taking care of his old in-laws. Nordier, again, is Vifort's father and the Bonapartist. Again, letter was intended for him, suffered a stroke and was paralyzed and unable to speak. The new thing you need to know is that he really loves his granddaughter, Valentine, and that's going to play into the different love interests and the different conspiracies that show up over the next few chapters. All right, Albert, again, that's the son of Fernand and Mercedes. He's kidnapped by Luigi Vampa when vacationing in Rome with Franz and saved by the Count. So remember, the Count does all of that to get himself and Fernand and Mercedes good graces. He's responsible for introducing the Count to Parisian society, and he's supposed to marry Eugenie Danglars. Again, they don't necessarily care to marry one another. That's just something that their parents have set up once again. Franz is his friend who went to the festival in Rome with him and met the Count. He's the one that received the ransom note from Peppino saying that Albert had been kidnapped by Luigi Vampa, and he asked the Count to help him save Albert. Okay, so he was involved in all of what the Count orchestrated in Rome. He's Albert's friend, and he is also, whereas Albert is supposed to marry Eugenie Danglars, Franz is supposed to marry Valentine. So remember to keep those potential couples kind of straight in your mind. And then finally, we have, and their names are in quotations for a reason because they're not their true identities. We have Bartolomeo Cavalcanti. He's hired by Abbe Bussini, aka Count of Monte Cristo, to pretend to be a great Italian prince who has only recently been reunited with his son, Andrea. Okay, Andrea is hired by Lord Wilmore to pretend to be the long-lost son of Bartomeo Cavalcanti, and he's set up to appear to be a great eligible bachelor. So these are basically two con men that the Count is paying to become these great people in Italian and now French society. And they're going to be part of his plot of revenge against some other characters. All right. So now let's move to our chapters for today. So we're going to look at chapters 31, 32, and 33. All right, so once again, Albert is engaged to Eugenie Danglars and doesn't really want to marry her because he thinks she's too rich. The Count, again, this is just a review, agrees to help Albert get out of his marriage by saying, okay, I'm not going to invite you to this dinner party. It'll provide a distraction. Danglars and Villefort families will be in attendance. They can enjoy each other's company. And then the Count, again, has scheduled that meeting with Bartholomew and Andrea. Now, we find out that it's a fake reunion. These men don't know each other. They're not related. The Count has just hired them to fake this long-lost father-son reunion that's going to just wow everyone in society. Now, Bartolomeo Cavalcanti received a letter from Abbe Bussini. So Abbe Bussini, the Italian priest that Edmond is pretending to be, he's the one that made the connection with Bartolomeo. Andrea received his letter from Sinbad the Sailor, aka Lord Wilmore, aka the Count of Monte Cristo. So he's using his different disguises to orchestrate these two men getting together for a fake father-son reunion so that he can use them against the Villeforts and the Danglars. Now, Edmond, he's bribing them, these gentlemen, into pretending to be a wealthy son and father who've only recently been united. You'll see his plan for them later on. But what he wants to do is introduce Andrea at the dinner party. So he's gotten rid of Albert because Albert doesn't want to be there. He doesn't want to marry Eugenie. And so Eugenie's family, the Danglars and the Villeforts, are going to be there. And he's going to introduce Andrea, who's going to be this eligible young man. Okay. Now, in chapter 32, Maximilian, he is in love with Valentine. She's in love with him. And Eugenie, she, again, doesn't want to marry Albert. She just wants to live her independent life like her friend, who is an artist. So she's not concerned with marriage, and she doesn't want to have to marry in order to have an inheritance or money or status or to make anybody happy. She just wants to be herself. Now, Madame de Villefort opposes Valentine's marriage, but not because Valentine is in love with Maximilian, but because she's bitter with Valentine. Valentine's going to get the inheritance, and she hates the fact that Valentine will be wealthy and her son, Edouard, will be poor, at least by her standards. Okay. Chapter 33. So, Monsieur and Madame de Villefort bring Monsieur Noirtier some news, and that's that they're like, okay, Dad and, you know, father-in-law, your granddaughter Valentine, she's going to marry Franz in 3 months. Okay, so that's the guy that Valentine doesn't want to marry, but that her dad and stepmom have picked out. And Noirtier, the grandfather, he's angry about the marriage. Now, Valentine tells him, listen, I don't want to marry this man. I don't love him. And Noirtier also has his own reasons for not wanting her to marry him. He had an unpleasant relationship with Franz's father. He was assassinated in 1815, and that will come into play later on in the story as well. So Noirtier communicates with Valentine again through his eyes, how he blinks, how many times he blinks. And through that, he decides he's going to help Valentine. So he cuts her and the entire family from his will, planning to leave his fortune to the poor. When that happens, then there's no longer supposed to be any pressure for her to marry Franz, and she can marry who she wants. Now, Monsieur de Villefort, her father, says, well, I'm not changing my mind anyway. So cutting her out of the will, she's still going to marry this guy. So the plan backfires. It does not work the way that they had hoped that it would. All right. We will pick up with chapter 34 tomorrow. So again, I'll have PowerPoint for the character keeper chart on the same page as this video. Let me know if you have any questions, and I hope you have a fantastic day. I will see you all shortly, hopefully soon. Talk to you later. Bye.